Yeah, Domas, big night for Booker tonight. You guys tried a lot of different things on him, but what were you seeing that allowed him to do as well as he did?
He's been playing amazing all year, so our job was to make it not so easy for him. We couldn't get that done the first half, and then a player like that, once he gets going, it's tough. Then last quarter, his teammates hit really big shots. He was making the right reads, and we try to get we just want to get the ball out of his hands.
Do you think you're the more physical team tonight?
I feel like we should have got this one. We made a lot of silly mistakes that we usually don't make. That kind of cost us the game.
And then what were you and Malik doing out there? Felt like you guys had a connection, especially in that first half.
The pick and roll game has been there a lot. I feel like I'm a pick and roll player, and Malik knows how to read it really well. So the more I can find him on the court to get ourselves in that position, I know it's good for the team.
Domas, you guys have battled really, really well against some of the best teams in the league and come up just short. Just how close do you guys feel you are? And, again, this was like the third loss in a row, but it doesn't feel like that for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't feel that way, but we definitely have to change that. We can't keep losing and saying, oh, we're almost there. There has to be a point where we got to finish the game, And the good thing is we know we're right there. So we just got to do these little things, and we'll get over the hump.
You just hit it on what are those little things to you that need to be done?
Big time offensive rebound by TC at the end. It's crunch time. 2-possession game, we need that. We would have put ourselves in a situation, in a good situation. Then silly turnovers, communication on the court, on defensive end, on coverages we're doing. I feel like we could have controlled Booker a bit better if we were more locked in.
Kind of following up on that, what did you see that got him going so early, and what would you have liked to have seen to contain a player like that?
I feel like in the first half our transition defense wasn't great, and he got a couple layups there, and once you get a couple layups, you start feeling good. His jump shot was falling, so you never know how the game's going to outcome, but we definitely didn't help.
A pretty rough shooting night for De'Aaron. I'm curious what you guys can do as teammates to try to get him going more and maybe help him out.
He's been great for us all year, and tonight he didn't, like you said, he didn't have a great shooting night, but it's our job to get him more open, to get him in situations where he feels comfy, to get him going, maybe get him an easy one, and then after that, everyone's seen what he does all year.
Domas, when you look at Keegan and kind of what he's been going through recently, is it how much of learning to play in the NBA is adjusting to the adjustments that other teams are making to you?
It's a lot. First games, it's easy, it's fun because no one knows you, so you're just playing yourself. Then guys kind of start figuring you out, and then you got to start going your counters. I think he's been doing great. He's in a tougher situation than most rookies in his draft pick number because we're trying to win, we're trying to make the playoffs, we're trying to go far. So I feel like it's a different kind of basketball than when you're playing on a team that's not doing so great and you're more free. So he just needs to stop beating himself up, and just enjoy the game.
Domas, you guys were riding high with that 7-game winning streak. Now it's 3 in a row that you've lost. What's the mindset? How do you try and balance those two things out?
Next game, we got to win. We got to win next game. We got to figure it out. We can't keep piling these up, and we're at home. We got to protect home court.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Book had a heck of a game. We threw the kitchen sink at him, and he was really good tonight. He was aggressive. He just kind of willed his team to the win. So you give Book credit, and you give the Phoenix Suns credit because of the job he did. Obviously, down the stretch, Torrey Craig's rebound was huge, and Damian Lee hit 2 big threes. We weren't going to let Book beat us, and we were going to say somebody else beat us, and Damian stepped up and hit 2 big ones. So that's what other guys got to do when you're taking out your best player like we try to do with Book. I thought Domas had a big game for us. He was a huge game, and same with Malik. Malik kept us in it with his scoring, with his ability to attack, especially getting downhill. that was huge to give us a chance to win. But at the end of the day, there's 17 second chance points. They're a heck of a team, heck of a rebounding team. Their 17 second chance points was probably what did us in a 1-2 possession game. They had some timely rebounds that they were able to convert into points, especially down the stretch.
Mike, you saw what this team was capable of with that 7-game winning streak. How frustrating is it to see 3 losses immediately follow that?
Well, the one thing our guys are doing, they're competing. And, we played the number 1 team in the East and lost on their home court. I thought we competed. We just don't know how to do it for close to 48 minutes quite yet, especially with our execution on both sides of the ball. And then we played the number 1 team in the West tonight, and it's the same thing. The game that kind of got away from us was the Atlanta game. You give those guys credit, but it was the first time we experienced something like that on the road in terms of a back-to-back, and some of the mistakes we made in that game we normally don't make, But I thought the guys, all 3 games, the guys fought. We just aren't used to doing it for as close to. We need to do it a little closer to 48 minutes than what we did against Boston in their place and Phoenix at our place tonight.
You mentioned Booker throwing the kitchen sink. How much, obviously there were some tough shots as well and easy ones. How much of that versus how much pleased you might have been with the defensive effort against him?
I thought HB and Davion did a heck of a job. He's talented, and then we double-teamed him. We double-teamed him a lot in pick-and-roll situations. They run the most pick-and-rolls, I think, in the league. And he has his hand involved in a lot of those pick-and-rolls. And so, he give him credit. He handled it. He got off the ball, and he made others step up and make plays, and they made just enough. But, you got a guy rolling like that, you try to do what you can to take him out. And I thought we did, especially down the stretch. And, you get a guy like Ayton making a layup. We didn't pull over. And these are little things I'm talking about. We didn't pull over to take away the roll, when we're trying to help in that pick-and-roll situation. Torrey Craig comes up with a big offensive rebound that turns into points. And those things you can't have down the stretch. And we had them, and that was part of what cost us the game. There were other times during the game where I thought we had some lulls, in terms of our offense execution and defense execution, and we paid the piper when it happened.
Yeah, Mike, De'Aaron, a little less than 29 minutes tonight. Is he battling through just aches and pains, or is there something you're seeing the last 3 games he hasn't really looked like himself?
Yeah, everybody has aches and pains at this time in the season, so he's our guy. I'm going to keep pressing him to step up on both sides of the floor, and this is something he's going to have to do. He's going to have to get used. That's what number 1 guys do. That's what superstars do. They play with the bumps and bruises and aches and pains, and they still bring it on both sides of the floor. So. I know he's probably looking at this game tonight, knowing he could have played better. I know he could have played better, and we're going to continue to push him in that direction.
Mike, just another game where it's just so close and you're right there and just things just don't go your way. Is there a theme with this year? That I know you're saying it's the small things, but is it something that's consistent that you see in that?
Yeah, we just don't know how to do it yet. We've done it a couple of times against teams. I think, like I said this before, I think we're 7-1 going into games against teams that are below 500. And, and usually in those situations, you're going to be able to make some mistakes throughout the course of the game and still get a win as long as you compete. And we've been competing this year. And, we've done some nice things offensively. We still got a ways to go defensively, but our guys are competing, and that's why we're giving ourselves a chance. Now what we have to do is we have to continue to try to clean up our mistakes. I can point out one TD as a low man didn't pull over in the first half, and I think Ayton gets a dunk or a layup, and then literally 5-6 plays later, whatever, he pulls over like he's supposed to, and he gets a charge. So those little things, doing it every time, and not taking a possession for granted with your assignment is something that we have to continue to work on and fix, and whether it's offensively or defensively, and that's the beauty or the neat part about this team is we still got room to grow, but going through these growing pains at times can hurt.
Mike, building off of James' question a little bit, when some people might see the night that Book is having and say, okay, your star, De'Aaron, needs to kind of step up and match that. What are your thoughts on that compared, or especially when Malik is having the night that he had?
No, I'm sure Foxy would say the same. He's got to play better, and he's more than capable of playing better. I mean, it's ain't nothing to hide from or not talk about. He's more than capable of playing better than what he did tonight. He didn't. We had other guys step up. We still had a chance to win, but we just didn't have enough possessions where we executed the right way on both sides of the ball.
Mike, there's been a pretty big disparity this season in your first quarters versus the second, third, and fourth quarters. What do you see happening in those first quarters, and what can you do to maybe even out that performance a little bit?
Disparity in what way?
Various field goal percentage, three-point percentage, defensive rating, net rating. A lot of those are near the bottom of the league for first quarters, and then much better when you get into the second, third, and fourth quarters. Do you read what do you read into those kinds of numbers?
Yeah, nothing right now. We have to play better throughout the course of the game. I'm a firm believer that you don't really win or lose a game at the start. I've said that, and it's part of the reason why. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if Keegan starts or if he comes off the bench. If I'm him or anybody else on the team, I want to be in there when it counts, especially when it counts, because there've been plenty of times this year where we've gotten up pretty big throughout the course of the first quarter, and the lead doesn't last long. So right now, I'm not really reading into the first quarter compared to second, third, and fourth quarter. It's more overall game and the amount of possessions that we're not executing throughout the course of the game where we need to value each one a little bit more than what we're doing.
You mentioned De'Aaron needs to play better. In what ways specifically can he play better when maybe the offensive game isn't always there for him? And are there things you can do as a coach to maybe, I don't know, whether it's a set play or something you can say to him to maybe help him snap out of it?
Yeah, everybody goes through their highs and lows or ups and downs throughout the course of the season. So it's not anything that I'm worried about. He didn't have a great game tonight, and he's got to play better. And he knows he can play better. I know he can play better. So it's not anything that I'm overthink or that he's going to overthink. He's just got to come out and be more aggressive in the next game, not just offensively but defensively too. And then a guy like Foxy, he's won some games for us down the stretch. And that doesn't necessarily mean by scoring all the time, just taking care of the ball, making sure defensively you're sound. And I thought down the stretch tonight he made a couple of mistakes that were big for us and to the Suns' advantage. And those are the things that, not just at the end but throughout the course of the game that he can do to clean up maybe when his shooting's not there.
Yeah, Coach, with Davion playing the defense he was on Book and Malik having a big night, did it make for a tough decision for you when you were trying to figure out what your closing five was going to be?
A little bit, because a guy like Davion, he can impact the game in a lot of different ways, especially when he's on the ball. But we were blitzing Book So, I wanted to get another guy out there that had a little bit more experience in shooting. And then I thought, when you have a guy like Foxy, he can get going at any time. He can get into that paint at any time and create for his teammates, get his teammates some good looks. And so that's why I chose to go with Fox and HB and Malik and Kev down the stretch. Thank you, guys.